Hey friends, welcome to the table where we do tarot. It's been a minute since I've gotten on here to do some of this, so let's get to it. We're going to start out with a horror oracle, okay? Classic horror oracle, and just get some messages. And I am sort of like lazily shuffling this on my lap right here, and I've got a table here, but this doesn't matter. You don't need to see the shuffling part and all that unless you're really, really curious, then you could sign up for your own reading and then you can watch all of it take place with me. All right, let's see what's going on here. Anything else? These cards are so large. All right, let's see. At the bottom is dinner. Okay, I was just talking about dinner plans and they can't go through because the place is closed. So let's see what else we have. Escape, trickster, and grief. So, oh man, this is a funny, this is a funny like message to me because it's saying that you escaped some sort of trickster and now they're in grief and they wanted to eat you for dinner. They wanted to eat your soul for dinner. Okay. But they were like, it is love. It is love. And then underneath that, I'm just reading what keeps going is the other side. It's like, actually, what is the other side of love? Because that's really what it was. It was distorted by love. But there, yeah. Okay. So, let me see. I'm not going to read all the meanings of this, but let me run through the escape, trickster, and grief. Yeah, I guess I'll just do all four. Pardon the cat. He just does what he wants. Hang on, I'm going to pause it while I look up the meanings. Dinner, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, directed by Tobe Hooper in 1974. The quote from the movie is that the events in the world are not doing much either to cheer one up. Maybe you do want to look closely at how the sausage is made. If you make a steady diet of the brain stunningly awful aspects of life around us through the news, social interactions, interpersonal conflicts, you're sure to find that what you're feeding yourself is actually all consuming. Don't let it eat you up. Upright, you are what you eat. Focus on sustainable options. Reversed, variety is the spice of life. The cat is tearing stuff up over there. Okay, so, and then let us look at Escape. Pan's Labyrinth, directed by Guillermo del Toro in 2006. Oh, I didn't know it was that, like, recent. All right, the quote is, a long time ago in the underground realm where there are no lies or pain. Finding refuge in stories is one of the defining characteristics of being human. Sometimes we tell ourselves stories to live through the dark or dangerous times. Folklore and fairy tales, the realms of fairies, fauns, pale monsters, tests, and trials, can be especially powerful, told and retold over great spans of time, as real as we want them to be. Upright, let yourself daydream. Reverse, stay focused on where you are. Okay. Because, like, when you're daydreaming, you're not focused on where you are. And so sometimes that's what you need to do is that's always to be honest, that's always what you do. Even if you are focused on where you're the task at hand, you still have to like daydream about the outcome that you are wanting to get to. Um, but that is how you get through difficult times. And if you listen to all the stories that I talk about, that's what my storytelling is about. It's like so I'm also reading the Bible, which I just was reading from Genesis, but instead of like just reading stories, stories come from concepts that are ubiquitous throughout the human experience. You just don't usually hear people's stories directly, or you're only hearing parts of them. So I think it's really important that the reason why I put my stories out completely unedited is because I want you to see that we go through similar things, even if it's not the same exact like um depth and breadth of the story, right? Or of like the experience that you could possibly have as a human. your stuff might seem more normal in the everyday sense of like how you have problems at work or like something to, but I have not been able to like succeed in the working world. And like, not that I can't succeed in it, it's that I have been sort of barred out from the working world. So when I tell you stories about my life, it's my stories are a little bit stranger because I haven't been given the opportunity to live sort of a semi-normal life. Though it's normal within its own strangeness. All right, so let's move on to the trickster, and then we'll go back to grief. All right, trap should be next. Trickster, it. Okay. Limited series directed by Tommy Lee Wallace in 1990. I'm afraid of, wait, I'm everything you were ever afraid of. That's the quote from the movie. Appearances can be deceiving and playful, seeming mischief, especially if coded as harmless, can be fueled by a subterranean animus. No one is ever just kidding. Bright, distracting balloons can hide a toothy moth, a figure as old as time. The trickster will use our own thoughts and fears against us if they can. Upright, be mindful of manipulation as you proceed. Reversed, how is your own mindset framing the situation? And this is something I talk about over and over and over again, that just because you think that there is someone in your environment who is like evil, right? This is what the concept of escaping, like escaping a trickster energy, like a relationship or a job or something that you're in. It's not the person directly. It's not the like I'm telling you, nothing is ever the person. Nothing is ever what it seems. It's an embodiment of an energy that moves through, okay? And that is the trickster energy is one of those energies. You can look in mythology, you can look to voodoo, you can look to Christianity. We can talk about like the devil is the trickster, right? So you need to understand that these energies are just energies. They can neither be created nor destroyed. They just kind of move through people. But we are living vessels that do not live forever. We expire. And so we are the vessels of which these energies run through. So people are going to be represented differently in your life than they are in somebody else's. And if that story is out of alignment for you and you like need to escape, then you can't um it's best for you if you don't try to talk yourself out of anything that you are feeling, okay? Where you're like, no, I'm just imagining this. It's like, just take things at the lowest level so that things don't get deep and you get into these points of where you feel like you can't escape. Okay, and then let's go back to grief. Come on now. Grief. Pet Cemetery. And this is like one of the most uncomfortable horror movies that I have ever seen. I don't know what it is about the energy of Stephen King movies that he can put you into this like as if ice were dropped into your stomach, or at least that's how I feel. It's like not being nauseous on like ice in the belly. But I remember that right before we left for deployment, when I deployed um with my army people back in 2009, we had all put our stuff like on shipment, or it was like at our family's houses or whatever. So all we had left were like what was around us for entertainment. And it was probably the last night before we headed out. And we were watching Pet Cemetery. And that movie is just as uncomfortable in the present day, or like, at that time as it was back when I was a kid. Grief, Pet Cemetery, directed by Mary Lambert, 1989. Darling is the quote. It can be hard to recognize that sometimes an end is better. Grieving a loss can drive us to do things we would never consider otherwise. Things that we know, that we've even seen, result in terrible outcomes. Revisionist thinking can take hold in a place somewhere between optimism and despair. It's in the upright, it's okay to let go. Reversed, hang on just a little longer. Please excuse my yawns. I don't read in reversals necessarily. Like I don't shuffle with reversals. Um, but I just want you to understand. I just want you to understand that this like the theme of what's going on with these oracle cards is that there has been actual movement. There has been actual movement. You have escaped. That doesn't mean, let me say this, that there's like a spiritual escape, there's a mental escape, there's a physical escape, and then there is like a legal escape, or like a social escape. There's all these different levels of escape, and they all happen at different times. But you have to get there. You have to get there by starting out in the mind, okay? By starting out in the mind and your reactions to things, and only say the truth, only say what you mean. So sometimes you have to go with silence rather than telling a lie, where if you know that you're in an uncomfortable situation, do not sugarcoat that. It is a lie. All right. You want to stay silent? Fine. But you need to get yourself in alignment. All right. Or nothing is ever going to work in your favor because you are using the trickster energy on yourself. So don't do it. Part ways with those things so that you can move on and celebrate with dinner. All right. Let's go on to the tattoo tarot. Okay. Sorry. When I hear cars go by, it makes my like sensor system crazy. We all have triggers, and like some people might be excited to hear a car come by, but for me, I'm like, I don't even know how to say it. It's just, yeah, I'm sure that you could call it all kinds of different things of whatever. But that doesn't matter. At the bottom of the deck, coming out of the box right here, we've got the 10 of coins, and that seems like some real pretty abundance coming your way, and you can feel it. And so, okay, when I split it, it was at the Queen of Cups. And this damsel, not in distress, is like just pulling in. She just like pulls in attention with her eyes, right? She's like, I got my cup, it's full. And so then she's not asking anybody for anything. So it draws the attention of people who are sick of being with needy people, who are just looking for a handout because they're not doing the work on their own. I'm talking about like an entertainment handout. Have you ever met people who like they are such a shell of themselves, or they don't know who they are. So they're constantly jumping from like one thing to another, or like one person to another, to entertain them, to give them some sort of purpose. I don't know. There's like a big grip of cards that wants to come out, but I want something more specific. Okay. Okay. I got what I asked for. Let's see if there's anything else that wants to come out. See what kind of, ooh, some things flipped. So yeah, maybe I will take those in the flip flop that they came out in. And I feel like encouraged to split the deck right here. Okay. And this is the Seven of Cups, and this is the Lovers. And what that tells me is that like there's something going on with a choice that was made to be in partnership, where it's like the Seven of Cups normally means a little bit of confusion about what fills your heart and what inspires you, or like what to invest your energy into when it comes to like filling your cup. But it's almost like because you invested in love, all of these things are fulfilling, and you're going to get access to all of them. So that's what it seems. But let's see what's going on in this little pile that fell out. The Hermit, no, I'm sorry, the Magician fell out upside down. So that tells me that somebody can't make things happen the way that they want to. So let's try to figure out who this is. And what we've got is the Six of Coins. This is what it fell over top of: the Six of Coins, the Knave of Swords, the Eight of Cups, and the King of Wands. All right, something's talking about walking away. Something's talking about walking away, and it has to do with like, I know exactly what this story is. This was already talked about. This was like, okay, there there was not equal give and take. There was somebody who was taking and not giving back to somebody's full value, and that person was seeing this other person, instead of being this King of Wands, who is who this person actually is. And this story has like repeated itself over and over again, but that's okay. This is like a new elevation of it. It's literally the same players that keep coming out, like the King of Wands, King of Cups, and then the what do you call him? Knave of Swords. And like the Knave of Swords is like the Page of Swords. Oh, so I think that he has come out also as like the Knight of Swords too. But I find it interesting. He has got a tattoo of a snake on his right hand. I have a tattoo of a snake on my left hand. The actual like head is up there. Um, so anyway, it's almost like in this picture, you're only seeing one of his eyes, but he's also got an eye tattooed on his neck. So he's like, I can see you, right? I can see you. And I can see I'm only looking at you with half of myself because you can't see the full me. And that's a good thing because you are a freaking trickster, right? That goes back to this like trickster and escape energy. It's like, I know I have to get out of here and I am going to use my sword to figure out how to either cut my way out of this situation, how to use my words to get out, or how to keep my silence to get out. Okay. Because there, the person who was like looking at this magician in reverse who can't make things happen, it's because they do not deserve what this person has to give because they're not giving it back. They don't even have the capacity to because they're in the upside down, because they're a trickster of themselves. They don't even know who they are. Okay. So they're all like in grief about this separation that they were like, but I saw your value upside down. And it's like, no, you only saw like half of my value, and that's not even close to what I actually am, because this is what I am. But to in order to be recognized in this power by myself and by others, I have to walk away from all this nonsense, right? And it's because like so the lovers ignited this this new wonder and like what's going to fill my cup up. Well, what's going to fill your cup up is your true lover. And so you have to move away from all this broke ass stuff, okay? And that is when you get to be the king, recognized for your passion and your creativity and your mastery of something, okay? All right, let's see what was on the other side of what's going on here. We've got the world, which is a completion of a cycle, that's for sure. And that is this Three of Swords. It's because this shit is over. Three of Swords represents mental heartbreak, right? Heartbreak in the mind, but it's over. This is what is complete, right? The Knave of Swords. He was turned to the side. He was thinking about his plan. And then he was like, all right, I'm ready to go battle. I'm ready to go to battle and cut through all this nonsense. I'm ready to face you head on. And I am just ready to walk right through it quick. Like, that's the thing with a sword. You can cut and talk about escape. You can escape real fast with a sword. Okay. So that's what happened. He was like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready. This is not the energy that I want to be in, but I am willing to go there in order to get away from this mess. Because look at all we got here is like this sword stuff. That's not actual stuff in the real world. Not in the real world. Swords are of the mind. It's the mental suit. Okay. So you're not creating anything. But look at this. We've got the Eight of Coins and the Nine of Cups. And so we had the Seven of Cups, the Eight of Cups, and the Nine of Cups. Let me show you. We have the Seven of Cups, Eight of Cups, and now Nine of Cups. And what that's showing is this evolution of abundance, like of abundance of the heart, of the emotions, because of this movement. Oh, and right under that was the Justice card. Okay. And like I won't keep going further than that, but justice is like the scales of balance in the earth realm, whereas the Hierophant is like a higher level up, but we're not going to talk about that. But in this Justice card, she has got the sword of truth, okay? And that's what this is based on. It's like, okay, we want to deal with all these swords that we were talking about. Um, this is the sword of truth. I am the one who holds it, and I am going to determine who gets what in the land of the living. And it's like the pentacles now, the Six of Coins card where there was no equal give and take. She's like, okay, I'm just going to balance that out. And I'm going to increase your coin by you working on a skill that is blessed as you being the king of wands. Okay. So you don't have to know what that is because you might have never been able to even like indulge in allowing yourself to find out what makes you tick, what creative thing lights your fire. But something about moving on into like this partnership, what is this? The two of wands, that's like coming together with that. And you're going to be able to hold on to something more. The four of coins is about like holding on to some stability in the money. Okay. Sometimes that means like you need to let go, and sometimes it means that you are having wealth that you're going to be able to hold on to because look at do you see? It's like if each lover had their own wand, they come together to create this. Now they've got stability in their money. And then there's the eight of wands. And what is the eight of wands? Hang on one second. Let me think. The seven of wands is like defending your position. The eight of wands is, I have to imagine it in what its traditional form looks like. So hang on. Oh, it's a message. It's a message coming in quickly from spirit. It's like a creative message coming in from spirit. All right. All right. I don't want to keep going deep, deep, deep within the deck, but I just wanted to acknowledge the things that I'm seeing. So it's just that you don't have to worry about like when it's split on the seven of cups, a lot of times that will stress you out back into the swords because you're thinking like there's so many things that emotionally fulfill me, or that there's so many things that might emotionally fulfill me. I don't know what to go to. I don't know what is from my wounding that's calling to me or what's from my true heart that is calling to me. I don't know. So then it's like the eight of cups. The only way that you find personal emotional fulfillment in this nine of cups is by walking away from all this stuff that creates any sort of confusion. And the only way that you can do that is by like choosing a lover that you can walk forward with because you feel like you have um this even weight, okay? In your sort of like in the overall like you have even spiritual weight, so it brings in even coin for both sides. Okay, so everything is showing up in balance except for this one that flipped out in the upside down, and that person is not meant to share in this with you. Okay, they were removed from your life like with a chainsaw. Okay, all right, we're gonna leave it at that. I love you. I hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.